was, an issue that touched not just students, but entire families. It's an issue that doesn't just touch, the preparation that children make for one exam, but it also impinges on their entire future, their idea of the future, whether they look at the future with anxiety or they look at the future with trust. I spent the last few days traveling in UP on the ground, and many students said to me that, the image of the Air Force transporting examination papers was a double-edged one. On the one hand, it could be reassuring, but on the other hand, it's an indictment of a system which needs the Air Force to transport exam papers. So when this NEET, this leak happened and then there was a retest, you are part of the governing coalition, you are an education minister, you feel passionately about it. Did you speak to the education minister at the center? Did you give suggestions? What are your takeaways from this entire episode?
Should further reforms happen in testing? Absolutely. No second thoughts. I think all of us accept that. And as a state, we have our own EPSETs and various other set exams that we do. Andhra has moved to completely computer-based testing. And I want to go further saying that I believe that exams shouldn't happen only once a year. When our children are aspiring for higher education, going to different institutions, one bad day could destroy their entire career in a year. So in my department, I only tell one thing to my secretary, my commissioners and all. I keep telling them that think about it from your own child's perspective. Look at education from that lens. See, we have this way of looking at it as, okay, I'm a minister or I'm a commissioner, I'm a secretary, I'm a teacher. I said, no. Think about it from your child's perspective. I have an 11-year-old boy. So whenever I would look at reforms, I would say, okay, let me put him as center of my universe. How would my decision change things for the good? I think that approach would really help us go a long way. Are reforms required in testing? Absolutely, no second thoughts about it. And this should happen across board. And, after this incident, I've been, of course, reading a lot more on the global practices. Because as a state, we also run our own sets. So it's important that we also strengthen our ecosystem further and further. And that's something that is very much required for India.
But as one education minister to another, did you speak with Minister Dharmendra Pradhan?
It was very important for me to understand what went wrong. So including the CBSE. Because if you look at the CBSE examination and the computer-based system, while from a minister's perspective, it looks really good. We have randomized it, paper has been sent out, testing could have happened. But then the results when they came in, it was a double-edged sword. So as a minister, it was very important for me to understand what went wrong. What were the corrections that are required? Because there's nothing, one thing we all have to admit is that there's nothing as a perfect system. We have to reform and improvise it as we go. So as a state and as a Telugu Desam party, we understand the importance of it. My chief minister, when I took the portfolio, is very clear. He said, children's future is dependent on it. Please ensure the systems are robust and stand the test of time and politics. And that's exactly what we have done.
The other issue that has dominated the headlines in the past few days and weeks, regional parties. So they are falling like nine pins or being made to fall like nine pins. Your grandfather, NTR, he actually got together regional parties and other parties to challenge the Congress dominance at that time. Times have changed. Your party is now in a very crucial manner holding up the BJP's one-party dominance, one could say that. From where you are, your vantage point, inside the ruling coalition of a BJP-dominant system, how do you look at this implosion of regional parties one after the other? There was Shiv Sena, there is TMC, there is talk of SP, there was AAP, all in the last few weeks. How do you look at this, and what are your takeaways for the TDP?
So Telugu Desam party as a regional party stood the test of time in politics. If you look at it in, I think it was 84, where Indira Gandhi ji toppled NTR ji, who had absolute majority, using the governor as a tool. It has happened. And if you look at it, before that also few more regional parties, governments were changed. But only TDP's government was reinstated by Indira Gandhi ji. That is because of our grit, and grit of our leader and our Karyakartas. Now, when I look at what's happening around me, I think the message is loud and clear that we should stand for our ideology as a regional party. We should stand for our Karyakartas as a regional party. And we have to double down on it. So parties that have lost their ideology because of winning elections and coming to power multiple times have faced challenges. Whilst Telugu Desam party, though has won elections, has lost elections, has always stood strong. It's also a fact that few of our MPs in the last cycle left us. But we fought, we stood by people. And that is how, as a regional party, we have come so far. Even after 44 years, we continue to stand strong. And our support to NDA, this is a question that you also raised, has always been unconditional. Because our leader, Naidu ji, and Telugu Desam party fundamentally believes that India needs stable leadership. Well, if you look at what's happened in UK today, if you look at the number of prime ministers that got changed in the last decade, today the world is looking at India to provide greater stability. And we need a leadership that's going to provide it. Are reforms coming? Absolutely. And states that are willing to perform are benefiting from those reforms. So our support to NDA, so we walked back into NDA in 2024 unconditionally. There were no conditions. And we continue to support NDA unconditionally. However, on policies, do we have an opinion? Absolutely. But our opinion will be voiced inside a room, within the four walls. We have done this. On the Waqf bill, we have raised our opinion. We sent it to JPC. There was greater consultation. And our opinions, some of them which we felt were critical, were incorporated. And then it came back for voting. Even delimitation bill. When I got the copy of the bill, I remember so clear that we worked through the midnight. We checked all the legal positions. And I sent a status note to my leader, Mr. Naidu ji, I think at 2 in the morning. So that first thing he wakes up at 4:30, he'll see my WhatsApp message. So my note was ready because I was in the field. He read it. And then we escalated it. We spoke about it with an NDA. So we have an opinion, absolutely. Do we protect the interests of our, Telugu people? Absolutely, no second thoughts. That's what we stand for. But we will voice our opinion in the four walls. Within the four walls.
So you say you voice opinion in the four walls. Now the four walls of that coalition arrangement have changed from the time that your father lent outside support to the Vajpayee government. Now with you have two ministers in the Modi government. But the difference is that in that government, there were coordination mechanisms. They were institutionalized, the to and fro with allies. There were allies in charge of committees, at the head of committees. Today, no such thing exists. Today, the interaction is leader-centric. It is not collegial the way it was. It is one-on-one with parties. So, don't you think that puts regional allies like you and even JDU and others at a disadvantage?
I absolutely disagree with that narrative. Because whenever we wanted to voice an opinion on any subject, the doors are always open. Whenever we wanted reforms to come in certain sectors, which is in the interest of the state, and of course, Andhra gets the first mover advantage, our opinion was always heard. And things were changed when we were able to sell. See, end of the day, as a regional party, it's important that I might have a vision. It's important also I go and sell that vision to leaders who matter, who take this decision. So I'll give you an example. Our conversation with Google started about before the shoveling 13 months back. And they wanted certain corrections in permanent establishment, taxation. And Naidu ji went and spoke to Modi ji very clearly and said, this is what we think we should do. He said, absolutely. And then it was his office that led those reforms. So honestly, as a regional party, I truly believe that our voice is being heard, and we've had no such issues in this current NDA.
How regular is your interaction with the BJP in the NDA?
As much as we need it.
There is no regularity in terms of...
See, politics will not wait. Issues will not wait for an official meeting to be convened 15 days from now or a month from now. If I have an issue, I pick up the phone, I call the Honorable Minister, the subject, and rest assured, either they answer the phone or they call back within the hour. And say, "Yaar, what's the issue? Anything?" I say, "Boss, this is what we want to do, this is what." Done, let's have a meeting. I'll call for send the note before you come. We send the note, we have a meeting, and we close the subject. That's how we work. This is what we call real-time governance. No?
No, so to get back to you, let's get back to you. So, in your trajectory, there have been these moments, these aha moments, if you will. You've spoken about this, that you entered a room full of 5,000 people when you were, I think, 21, and your father was out of power, and everybody stood up and clapped for him. And that was a moment you felt that you wanted to be a politician. Then there was another moment that you have spoken about, which is when you lost your election and then fought back and came back with a record majority. Another moment is when your father was arrested. And but the moment that you talk about the most is your Padyatra. You have often spoken about the fact that that Padyatra made somebody who was a Stanford MBA into a full-time politician. So tell us more about the Padyatra, also because given your other emphases and interests, which is, AI hubs, quantum computing, digital governance, e-governance, how does the Padyatra sit with that, and how necessary is the Padyatra in the time of AI?
Many of you don't know, but I have always chosen the road less traveled. So if you look at it, I contested from a constituency that my party did not win since 1985. I lost in 2019. 5 years I didn't leave my constituency. I was very clear that I didn't have enough of time to convince my voters about my capacity and capabilities. And 5 years later, I won that constituency with 91,000 majority, which was the third highest ever in Andhra history. Ironically, all the three majorities happened in this election, the three highest majorities. But saying that, again, I chose HRD. Not many people choose education or HRD, but I was so passionate about it, I believe change should happen. So imagine I'm handling teacher unions, teacher recruitment, which is mirrored historically with controversy, and we've done it so well. So that's the trajectory I've always chosen. And Padyatra, I truly believe, was very important for me to understand Bharat. So when, in the previous term also of Mr. Naidu's, in his third cabinet, I was a minister. So when an MLA would come and explain to me about a certain issue, my ability to connect with that issue would be limited. But post the Padyatra, because I walked in his constituency, I heard the people, I spent 2-3 nights there, my ability to relate to that issue 100% exists. A lot more. So as I keep saying, Stanford MBA was fantastic for business, Padyatra was great for politics. Because I got to know. The IQ bit I got from Stanford, the EQ bit I got from Padyatra. So it was very important to connect. And that's when I realized that if an issue comes to me, via WhatsApp or any other mechanism, that means the issue has already boiled over, is my theory. So the pace at which I need to respond should be much, much, much faster. So this is what my Padyatra taught me. And, politics is a very interesting space. When you're in power, you tend to get carried away. And that happens with everyone. So for me, Padyatra, I have a coffee table book. Thanks to my wife Brahmini, who really curated it and put it together. I actually go back to it. And whenever I get time...
The coffee table book is on the Padyatra?
On the Padyatra. I have a coffee table book. And only way you get it is if I give it to you. You can't get it anywhere else. It's not up for sale, FI. But I reflected. It's a very emotional thing for me, because that's how I reflect back. Or whenever I feel tired after a long day, I look back and say, I've been sitting in an AC room all day, doing from presentation to presentation. I have no reason to be tired because I walked. There were days when I walked 24 kilometers in Andhra heat, which is quite grueling. But I did it, and it created that sense of connection. And that's where I believe, I reflect back on my Padayatra. When I take my decisions, I look back on my Padayatra. And I continue to talk about my Padayatra. A few other politicians who did Padayatra don't seem to remember that they did a Padayatra or even connect with it. But I connect back, I go back. When I talk about an irrigation project, it's like aha moment. Yes, I remember this. So this is the connection that it has enabled me to have with my people, with people of Andhra Pradesh.
So one thing you did during the Padayatra was you held up a little red book. It's a personal diary in which it is believed that you have names of officials, police officials, YSRCP leaders, and other administration personnel during the time that Jagan was in power, and you believe that excesses were committed against TDP and TDP cadres. So now there were recently some custodial deaths, and the opposition has said that this is an example of red book governance, that there is a kind of vendetta politics that you are indulging in, or your government is indulging in. And your Mahanadu, the TDP's annual conclave was held in May, and there was a lot of talk about the destructive governance during the Jagan period. So, the red book, the custodial deaths, the what is it called? The Godali, you call it the axe culture.
Axe party.
Yes, the axe party.
We fondly call YCP an axe party.
So it all seems, if you look at all these, that there is a lot of bitterness and hard divide between government and opposition. You are young, you are open, you are moving ahead. Why do you think this bitterness, why would you want to carry this bitterness with you?
I absolutely have no bitterness, number one. Number two, I have seen the political system since my birth. So, people blessing, God willing, I was born 14 days or a little bit more after NTRG became CM. I have seen how the cadre works, because you're brought up in that ecosystem, you see it day in, day out, you hear. I've seen how IAS officers work. I've seen how IPS officers work. For the first time between 19 and 24, I've seen an institutional collapse. Let me explain it a bit further. They foisted 23 cases against me. 23, including an attempt to murder case, an SC/ST atrocities case against me. If I don't put a stop to this, and if I don't take the people to task who broke the law, then where is the end to this? Isn't that why we are elected, to uphold the Constitution? If you look at it, please go back and search on YouTube. Between 2019 and 2024, there were days where Mr. Naidu was not allowed to leave from his house, step out of his house, because police would tie ropes to his gate. He was not allowed to go. But today, Jagan is happily going anywhere he wants. We don't stop him. Let's be very clear about it. The fundamental rights that the Constitution of India provides is being upheld by the NDA government, no second thoughts about it, number one. Number two, was there a custodial death? Yes, there was. It's a fact. It's known. What have we done? We have taken action. There's a murder case foisted. We have put a murder case against the person who's done it. And he's going to face the music of the law. Did Jagan do the same thing when he was in power? No. When our Karyakarta was killed, there's a video where he was beheaded. No action. When Dalits were killed, no action. So if I correct that, how is it wrong? That's something someone needs to explain to me. Did I talk about the Red Book? Absolutely. In every public meeting I would hold up and explain to people that people who broke the law will be brought to justice. If I really believe in vendetta politics, would Jagan be outside? But we don't believe in it. Mr. Naidu never believes in it. Telugu Desam Party, historically, and we are not a new political establishment. We've been around now for 44 years. We've never done it. This is not something we don't stand for. But people who committed a crime, who broke the law, will have to face the music by law. And it's nothing personal from me.
You're the face of your state's investment push, and you've had major successes. You know, you brought Google. It has committed, I think, its largest tranche outside the US. But there are questions, there are controversies, there are questions about land acquisition, about environmental concerns, because, you know, all these data centers, the amount of energy and water that they will require. There are concerns that environmental clearances have been given in haste, or that the state is giving too many subsidies to these companies. So how would you address those questions?
If you look at it, data is the new oil and data centers are the new refineries. The quicker we accept it, the closer we'll be to reality. See, all our phones are now powered by data centers. So do you stop using them? And now let's talk about a few numbers. 3,000 TMC. Just keep this in mind. 3,000 TMC of water from Godavari goes into the sea every year. 3,000 TMC is more than the annual consumption of water in Brazil. More than in Vietnam. 6 gigawatt of data center capacity that we want to build in Andhra would require about 1.5 to 2 TMC. 1.5 to 2 TMC. So what's the context? I'll give you one more fact. A thermal power plant, 1 gigawatt thermal power plant consumes 7 times more water than a 1 gigawatt data center. But everyone sees power as a necessity, so it's okay. So where are these coming from? If you look at it, we believe as a nation, we have one nation, one grid that enables us to wheel our renewable energy across the state. Today, Andhra Pradesh has solar, wind, pump storage, hydro projects. That's what makes us very different. So there's so much of renewable energy that I can give the data centers. Why not? And the kind of jobs that it will create. So the question I get asked is, will data centers alone create jobs? I believe data centers are the catalyst that create jobs. For me, it is not merely about attracting the data centers alone. I am getting everyone involved in the ecosystem come to Andhra Pradesh. I'll give you one interesting company, Carrier Air Conditioning, set up a shop in Andhra Pradesh just because so much of data center investment is happening, because they need all the air conditioning for the data centers. A simple number. Power electronics, server, the blade servers, the racks, the whole 9 yards. That is what we have built. We are building the entire ecosystem that will create jobs. Now coming to incentives, as a state, should I compete with other states? Absolutely. Otherwise, if we don't create jobs, what are we even discussing as a nation? The single task with which we are working in Andhra Pradesh is creating jobs. You believe we did things in haste? I call it speed of doing business. If a steel project gets stuck in a neighboring state for decades and I'm able to close it in 17 months, will you call it haste or will you call it speed of doing business? If AMCA, Advanced Combat Aircraft, Multi-Combat Aircraft of India, which is going to now get tendered out and soon it will get manufactured in Andhra Pradesh, we got it done in 37 days. 37 days. Raksha Mantri say first letter to 600 acres being allocated to Government of India at zero cost. We didn't even take a penny. We did it. Raksha Mantri came, laid foundation. Will you call it haste or speed of doing business? I call it speed of doing business. This is the way we work in Andhra. There are few partners, friends here who are from, who have made investments in Andhra. Please ask them at the speed at which we are working. We have to create jobs. Am I giving incentives? Absolutely. I call it the first mover advantage. Early bird incentive. And am I going to reduce incentives as I go? Absolutely. But then, if I'm going to say I will not give incentive, I will not give land, I won't give power, I won't give water, then how will I create jobs, boss? I'll give you an example of this. There is a policy called lift policy. in Andhra Pradesh. So this is where top tier Fortune 500 companies, if they want to set up their GCC, will be given land at 99 paise. You heard me right, 99 paise. That one policy, I got cognizant. TCS, Infosys, IBM, few more are going to come soon. My theory is very simple. Okay, I can mark that land value to the market and say it's going to cost X amount of money, so you pay me that money. Versus me giving it at 99 paise and pushing them to finish their campus, create the jobs. Those jobs that they're going to create, the economic impact that they're going to create, the tax that they're going to give to the state, they're going to repay my entire land price every year. So for all the businessmen here, my IRR on that investment is 100%. But you need leaders to take that bold decision. Otherwise, how will India move? Someone has to explain this to me otherwise. If we get so protective and we are not willing to put our neck out and say, this is what India needs, this is the kind of change we need to. We did it, we got it done. And I had to fight for the policy. Even my chief minister didn't believe in that policy. I, as an IT minister, had to fight. Then I realized that I'm doing single batting. So I started looking at my other ministers saying, boss, thoda support dena yaar. Luxury. 30 minutes, imagine in a cabinet meeting. And Mr. Naidu is not exactly an easy chief minister to work with. 30 minutes he was bombarding me with questions. And I stood my ground. I said, no, I believe in this policy. I said, give me one chance. You've been pushing me on one side. Give me a catalyst that will make that change. And I believe this is the catalyst. We got the policy. And the beauty is, it was challenged via a pill. And the court did not even answer. Because they said, what's wrong? If a Fortune 500 company is coming up, Cogsy is coming up, or an IBM is coming up, and few more I can't name because it will be unfair till we officially announce it. If they are all coming, what's wrong? That's the policy of the government. So whatever we've done, and we will do, will always stand the test of time in politics. We will not take shortcuts. It's not favors being given to my own company or my friend's company. These are Fortune 500 gold standard companies. And I believe that's the policy revolution that we need. That's the push that India actually needs. And that's what I'm doing.
You spoke of competition between states. So between Andhra and Karnataka, it's been particularly edgy. There was the case of a recent CEO, I think, tweeting about the traffic jams and the potholes in Bangalore. And you jumped in and you said, please come to Andhra Pradesh and we will give you better city infrastructure, we'll give you better roads and safer cities for women. So you have maybe safer cities for women or better roads, better infrastructure, but it is also being said that basically you have the center on your side. You know, mere paas maa hai, to mere paas center hai. So you have that big advantage. And how it could pan out for other states like Karnataka, which does not have the center's help, is that it could deepen a skew, the industrial skew between states, and that there would be some states that would be left out and others that have the center on their side which would take advantage of that.
This is an amazing excuse that non-performing states use. If you don't perform, why are you blaming me from taking investments? If you don't lay your roads, what will Government of India do? Someone needs to explain this to me. Like, you don't lay roads, you don't give 24-hour power, you charge your industrial customers 15 rupees per unit. And I as a state, I'm saying I'll compete on that, I'll do better. And then you blame because there's double engine bullet train Sarkar in Andhra, automatically things are going. Your inefficiency, boss. How can you blame me for it or blame the Honorable Prime Minister? See, the Honorable Prime Minister came up with a data center policy which applies for India. In the regulation, he didn't say this is only applicable. There's no star terms and conditions apply only in Andhra Pradesh. He didn't say that, no. He said states should compete. Why not? When states compete, India wins. It gets the best out of politicians. And I as a state will compete. And there's a lot of name calling. I said, no problem, boss. As long as we create jobs, this is all okay. This is all fair. It's fine. I understand it's hurting you, but that's okay. But is it going to stop me from attracting investments? Absolutely not. Now, is there an advantage of having double engine Sarkars? Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Because we have a voice at the table. But Andhra mein we have double engine bullet train Sarkar. Because for all of you, Namo means Narendra Modi ji. In Andhra, Namo means Naidu ji and Modi ji ka jodi. So that's what we stand for. We have two great leaders. And look at the way Naiduji is pushing. So I'll give you an example, right? If you look at the ArcelorMittal project, so we did everything from the state side to get them. They had only one request. They said, see, transporting iron ore all the way from the mine to my plant in a truck is the most meaningless thing we can do. From a cost perspective, from an environmental perspective. So we need a slurry pipeline. All they said is we need a slurry pipeline. And if Naiduji can put in a word to the Honorable Prime Minister, it will be fantastic. We said, absolutely, we'll do it. Naiduji went, met the Honorable Prime Minister and explained the entire thing. He said, who gave this idea of trucking iron raw material all the way in a truck? It's meaningless. He said, this is the problem. No, we will do a slurry pipeline. It's good for the nation. No, Mr. Naiduji had a conversation with the PM. Should other CMs do it? Absolutely. Why not? Should Karnataka CM do it? Absolutely. If they don't do it and they blame us, or they simply say that, no, everything is going to this state or that state, boss, compete. Fight for investments. Definitely they'll come to your state.
You just said Namo means Naidu and Modi. There is a certain irony in that. At one time, Mr. Naidu was seen as a prime ministerial candidate. And at one time also Nitish Kumar was seen as a prime ministerial candidate. Today, you are putting Naidu ji in Namo and Nitish Kumar is also in the NDA. Two men who were at one time seen as much larger than their states and as people who could lead at the center are now squarely within the NDA with Modi ji, under Modi ji's umbrella. Do you think there is a sense of loss in this image?
See, if Naiduji would want to be the Prime Minister, he would have already been the Prime Minister in United Front time. He was offered the Prime Ministerial seat. He chose not to do it. He said, I have agenda cut out in my state, I need to do justice to my state. And it was not once, he was offered the Prime Ministerial role twice and he didn't accept it back then. It was very clear. And now, is our work cut out in Andhra Pradesh? Absolutely. And are we contributing to the nation? Absolutely. How are we doing it? Naiduji was one of the important catalysts in telecom deregulation. In PPP coming into airports, he was the catalyst because he wanted to build a greenfield private airport in Hyderabad. That's how GMR took Genesis and built a world-class airport today in Hyderabad. Have we done it all over again? Absolutely. The data center policy. We've done it. So like this, we have played our role in the national discourse. But Mr. Naiduji never as an individual aspired for higher office. He said, my task is cut out. And I don't know whether you followed, he's done yesterday, I think was it yesterday? Yeah, he did yoga. And my team said, oh boy, he has another, at least 4 terms ahead of him though. Like, look at his flexibility. He was a lot more flexible than I am. So, saying that, so he has a lot of energy. And his energy is very infectious. That's what brings us all to serve under his leadership. So I think there's a lot more he can contribute at the state level. And he can show a model. See, one thing we all miss is that if India has to become Vikasit Bharat, it has to be led by the states. If it has to be led by the states, you need competent, capable leadership to lead that. So India is not going to achieve Vikasit Bharat without states powering up. And that's what Andhra is doing. We are powering up. And we are growing. We are showing the way. And that's what makes Andhra very unique.
In your family, you have 2 models of governance. NTR laid the foundations of the social welfare model. There was the 2 rupee per kg rice, and I think property rights for women. He was a pioneer in that as well. And then your father became identified with the IT revolution, the building of Hyderabad into a hub, international hub for IT. How do you see this balance of both models?
I truly believe that both go hand in hand. It's very important to carry both forward. If you look at it, agriculture in the West, may it be Europe or US, it's highly subsidized by the government. Look at the corn lobby, look at the soybean lobby. I'm US educated, I know it. It's massive. And here we are saying that farmers ko kuch nahi karna hai. How does it work? While their governments are protecting their farmers, and we say that nahi, it's wrong. I disagree with that. But we also have to invest in education, health care, infrastructure, lower cost of energy. So it's a very tight balance that governments have to do. So I've had this conversation with my leader, and Andhra's GST is roughly about 4,200 to 4,500 crores a month. And there's always a fight between departments. We want more money, we want more money. So I do this before a cabinet meeting. All the cabinet colleagues of TDP, we call it the breakfast. We just sit and have random conversation, no agenda, 90 minutes just on what has happened in the last 15 days, what should we correct, so on and so forth. And in the cabinet meeting, I broach this subject, we are fighting for the money, that's only so much. Why don't we double that pie? Then they said, how? They said, let's ground every project that we've signed. Every project. So now I'm actively tracking 800 projects, which are medium to large. 800 projects. 25 business houses actually get a WhatsApp message from me either end of day Saturday or Sunday morning. Okay, these are your projects in Andhra, this is the status, and I believe you guys are slow in A, B, C, D, E. I tell them, because your team is going behind schedule. Because I said if I ground these projects, simply the amount of economic activity these projects will create, my GST will double. Simple logic. Is it important to do it? Absolutely. And do I need to take care of my farmers? Absolutely, no second thoughts. I can't just leave them high and dry, but I need to come up with innovative models. So for example, in farming, we grow commodities that is more required for India as a market. So there will be surplus, and that's where prices crash. We need to grow commodities that are required for the global market. We need to get global best practices. And we need to create the entire supply chain robust system that is required for it and export our commodities. That's what we need to do. And only then can we create a resilient horticulture hub. This is exactly what we did. So we did this with banana. So banana is big in Andhra and we never exported pre-14. But then in our previous regime, we focused on it. We said export karenge. And now we are one of the largest exporters of banana in India. So I think there are models there. And we have to find innovative ways of doing it. Do they require a handholding? Absolutely. See, we have to accept the fact that there is still poverty in India. Then we have to give them a handout and we have to hold their hand. It's not just about paise de de mera kaam ho gaya. Nahin. How do you pull them out of the cycle of poverty? Education, opening their eyes up to what are the opportunities that Bharat offers. Only then can we bring the cycle out.
Andhra Pradesh has done well on poverty reduction, it has done well on healthcare, but not on literacy. Why is that?
So before I answer your second question, the first question is a very interesting question. So I'm doing a history wall in our party office. So before the historian came, I was looking at data. So all of us like what? Chat GPT, Gemini, and we ask a lot of questions. So I was comparing HDI and per capita income of Andhra and Bihar in pre-TDP, so pre-1983. All of you will be surprised to know that Andhra's per capita income was not more than 12 to 15% higher than Bihar in 1982. So it took one Telugu Desam party to transform Andhra Pradesh. And that is what has made us, made Andhra Pradesh what it is today. Coming to literacy, last 5 years, that is between 19 and 24, there was zero focus on enrollment. There was zero focus on adult literacy. All of you will be shocked. In 2024, when the report came out, 24 report which came in 25, Andhra had the lowest literacy rate, lower than Bihar. We took up a mission mode. I am running India's largest adult literacy campaign. Completely digitized, because I love technology. Everything has an app in Andhra. We created an app, we tracked, we'll use data effectively, real-time governance again comes back, where results will come out soon. We are already in the mid-tier. And I promised to Dharmendra Pradhanji that by 27 end, Andhra will be 100% literate. 100%. So on a mission mode, we can do it and we will do it. And that is the power of data.
On delimitation, so Chandrababu Naidu has actually supported the government on its proposal. The government is going to bring the bill again of increasing, doubling every state's share, maintaining the ratio. But Shashi Tharoor recently tweeted in response to your father's support to the bill, saying basically that, if your salary is 2 lakh, and your driver's is 20,000. After a 50% increase for both, yours will be 3 lakh and your driver's will be 30,000. So the percentage or the proportional increase is the same, but aren't you going to be much better off than your driver after the increase? So how would you respond to those concerns that even with the same increase and keeping the same ratio, the southern states are going to be worse off than the northern states? And attached to that is your government has actually given incentives for having more children. That is also coming in this environment where there is a concern about population, representation. But aren't you putting a burden, an unfair burden on families who find it even difficult to support 2 children, much less 3 and 4?
So to your first question on delimitation, again, all of us have to just go back to Article 81. Article 81 clearly stipulates that the number of seats will not increase, and based on 2026 census, delimitation will happen. So what all of them did was grave injustice to South India, because the amendment was meant to safeguard the interests of South. So I don't know where this logic came. 2, we are now 1.5 billion people. Some of our assembly constituencies, like my own assembly constituency has close to 300,000 voters. So there is unevenness in the size of an electoral constituency. It was also Pranab Mukherjee ji, if I'm right, who actually said that India actually needs 1,000 MPs. Because to represent the voice of the electorate effectively, be available to them, respond to them. 1.5 billion people. Do we need delimitation? Absolutely. Now this question is proportional representation. We obviously don't have the electoral college route, which is also debatable. So you win the popular vote, but you don't win the electoral college vote, which happened. Trump versus President Trump versus Secretary Clinton election, this happened. So India has taken a parliamentary form, and as long as, our humble view is that as long as proportional representation is maintained, I believe that the safeguards are there. Otherwise, Article 81 will kick in, Tamil Nadu, Kerala will lose 7 MP seats, Andhra will end up losing 3 MP seats. I think Telangana will end up losing 1 MP seat. And this will move to the most populous state, number 1. The second part of your question about, we call it demographic management, population management. We should not look India with one lens, and that's a mistake we always do. We look at the macro number and say everything, sab kuch acha hai, or we don't need to intervene. But if you look at it, the replacement rate in Tamil Nadu, if I'm right, is around 1.4. Andhra is about 1.53. So we are below the replacement rate. Replacement rate is 2.1. Is there a mechanism that we should take care of the children? Absolutely, we have done that. We have done it. We have a program called Talliki Vandanam. As long as the children are in school system, we give 13,000 rupees per child per year. It supports the family. And we've done that. As a government, we've done it. It's proven. It's robust. 1 cycle over, 2nd cycle in July. So Mr. Naidu, and this is not the first time Mr. Naidu has spoken about it. It was in 2018 that he said this problem is coming about, and we as a nation should be cognizant to it, and we have to create frameworks for it. So it had nothing to do with the political spectrum of delimitation. These were 2 independent decisions. It's just that they ended up getting bundled at the same time. And then it came about. So that's the view with which we are working as a state government.
The social media ban that you are proposing, Andhra Pradesh is, the government is mulling legislation which will, I think, have a ban under 13, a social media ban for children under 13, and then some age-appropriate content between 13 and 16. How difficult or easy, how far gone are you in the planning of this kind of legislation? Because there will be problems. There will be problems that have to do with state boundaries. I mean, you know, does this policy end at the state boundary where one state begins and the other ends? There will be problems of age verification. There will be problems of, you know, the cooperation between intermediaries and platforms. So you are looking at models. Australia has already done it. Others like France, UK, and Singapore, I think, Denmark, they are all in different stages of proposing this kind of policy. Where are you at right now, and what are your concerns?
One, we have already held consultation with all the platform, all the players, all the platform owners, and they've also made it very clear that children under the age of 13, according to their terms or conditions, as we might say, are not allowed. But of course, kids are exceptionally smart. They find ways of faking it and they'll get on the platform. So they want it under the age of 30. No second thoughts about it. As parents, do we want it? I think all of us should. Show of hands, how many of us believe that our kids under the age of 13 should not be on platforms? It's quite open and honest. We agree to it. We need safeguards. Age-appropriate content is very, very important. And that's where we have to use a framework where we can regulate it. You're absolutely right. It makes it exceptionally challenging for a state to do it. Because you're right, there's boundaries, there's VPN, there's so on and so forth. This is where we're working with Ashwini Vaishnavji to figure out, can we do this at a national level? And this is the conversation I'm already having with him, and quite a detailed one. So I'm sure soon you should hear about this. So this will enable India to protect its children much better.
I'll ask just one more question, then we can open it up to the audience. So Andhra Pradesh is the #1 state for international immigration. You know, you have a large number of students and IT professionals who are particularly vulnerable to the Trump policies, the change in the immigration policies in the US. So what are you doing for those students? What kind of spaces do you think the government can open up for our young talent that now doesn't have a place to go, you know, chasing the American dream?
If you look at it, quite a few of our children went to Europe as healthcare support workers. There are some who are going to different parts of Southeast Asia in the entire semiconductor industry. So we are opening up new avenues where our children can explore. And while we are having this debate about 3 languages, we are going about saying kids who want to learn Japanese, here is the ITA college or degree college, and kids who want to learn German, here's the opportunity. Because it opens up new boundaries, new opportunities for them, right? They can actually go. This is what I believe is the power, and this is something that we should use effectively as a nation. And we are quite cognizant of it. Yes, what's happening in the US, they become a lot more inward looking. And if you look at it, US was always built on immigration. The best and brightest minds across the world went to the US in search of opportunities, and they built US. It's a great melting pot. Now what will happen after 2 more years, I think? Let's watch. So I don't think we should be worried too much. We should do about what we do. While crisis is there, I also believe it's an opportunity. It opens up new boundaries, new countries for us to explore, countries that we never even evaluated. And that's the way, that's the approach that Andhra Pradesh government has been taking for this problem.
In fact, I'll ask one more question before opening it up. So again, back to your ally, the BJP. One is, of course, what we talked about earlier, that the BJP right now looks predatory. It's trying to expand its parliamentary majority, perhaps because it wants to bring on constitutional amendments with greater ease, because, you know, this last amendment fell because they didn't have the numbers. So, one, it is predatory. Two, it has that one nation thesis, that one nation, one election, one nation, one tax, one nation, one grid, one nation, one, everything. Does that not strike some kind of apprehension in your heart, given that you are a regional party, part of a federal setup, and in the name of administrative efficiency, economic efficiency, there is a certain kind of an undermining of democracy and diversity in this one nation thesis?
Already Andhra Pradesh's assembly and parliament elections are synchronized. So we are already in the one nation, one election cycle. So it's already happened in Andhra. We are already there, number one. Number two, is GST good? Absolutely. These are reforms that India needs. Does it put greater power in the federal dispensation? Yes, it does. No second thoughts about it. I'm not denying it. But at the same time, Karnataka is getting its money. So is Tamil Nadu. Before government changed in West Bengal, they got money. Whatever was due to them from GST, they got their money. So it's not that if really a federal government wanted to hold back and say, "Yaar, 3 mahine I'll not give you money," then it would be the case. But they've never done that. And that's not the spirit. See, please understand that with all fairness, BJP also understands that these South Indian states are also part of India and Bharat. So this discourse about North versus South, this fight, I don't believe in it. And this entire language thing, I mean, if you look at it, the way it was brought about, and they are trying to create a divide that, your own mother tongue is going to be destroyed, finished. It's unfounded. And parties that actually stood for it, look at what has happened today. So if we are a global economy, we are getting more and more integrated, we have to learn new languages, we have to build on that. That is important. So honestly, I don't see a challenge. The only challenge is that if we are complacent as a regional party, if we for 1 minute don't listen to the ground, then we're going to pay a price. As long as we are rooted, grounded, continue to understand the aspirations of the youth in Andhra Pradesh, Telugu Desam Party will have absolutely no problem.
We'll open it up to the audience questions, and after that Anant will do his rapid fire with you. So first, Shyam Garu, please ask your question.
Yeah, already I have a question. Shah mentioned value-based education. My question is cleared. Only one question. Mainly in AP, middle class families are suffering their children education. You have any ideology for that fear of middle class families?
I'm sorry, what was the second part? I was not clear.
Yeah, generally middle class families are suffering of their children education. So do you have any ideology for that family?
You have?
Ideology.
Ideas. Okay. So my strong belief is that if you look at the Nordic countries, everyone sends their children to a government school. Right? Why are we not building that kind of an ecosystem? So if you look at it, I've always taken this bold statement. I've made this bold statement in the assembly that there will come a day when government schools, not all to start off, but at least some, will put, sorry, no admissions, school is full. And I had this weird problem in my own constituency the other day. So I've taken up a school and we have now systematically worked on improving. And we're doing this across state. Infrastructure is one part, but even the soft part, right? You'll be surprised, the other day one lady was having an argument with me, my voter. With all humility, she is my voter from Mangalgiri. And she had an argument with me that ki school full ho gaya, government school, why are you not taking my child? Give me a recommendation letter. I said, madam, I can't do it. I'm sorry, but the HM is a very tough lady. She has put a minor exam, your child has to pass. She said, no, I missed that. Then I said, agle saal, next year. She said, no. He said, you give my child a seat now. You'll be surprised, quite a few schools have that now in Andhra. Why have I done it? How have I done it? point is, as a society, we glorify infrastructure, the hardware of a school. But we miss that a hardware without a software is useless. What is an iPhone without the iOS here? Or what is Samsung without an Android operating system? Now what's the operating system here? Our teachers. So what I've done is I've instilled a sense of pride in my teachers, a sense of confidence. Today you won't believe, we are one of the very few states who have Teacher Transfer Act. Teacher transfers, there is zero political involvement in Andhra Pradesh. I got in that bold reform. I took it on me. We are the only state in India where we gave a front page ad where government school children who performed well, we gave an ad, again mind you, without any photo of the CM or myself. In our school there are no pictures of my CM or me or even my secretary. I said, I don't want your gyan here. No politics in schools. We gave a front page ad and we have seen admissions improve after that. Funnily enough, we have seen admissions improve after that. And our children did a lot of programs, outreach programs to their own family, and we've done it. And that is the way. And that is very, very important for us to build as a state. So that is the way I look at education. It's very easy to simply say regulation is the solution for everything. But I honestly believe that governments are here to provide safeguards. And regulating everything is not the solution. So what has happened in the previous administration in my state is they started regulating, harassing higher education institutions. So what did that lead to? No one set up a university in 5 years of the previous government. 5 years. Today I'm proud to say BITS is putting up a quantum computing campus, a university in Amravati. We got it done. Like this we are attracting world-class universities, ranging from Australia all the way to the US. You'll see a few more announcements happening. We need to bring in good quality institutions. We need to invest in research. That is very, very important. And it requires a lot of focus from us.
Ananya Mukherjee.
Hello. I wanted to ask you about higher education. What are the one or two big things that you're thinking? Not only which universities are coming, but qualitatively, like you mentioned about school education, what is the focus?
My focus on higher education is that we need to move into research. There's a lot more work needs to be done. But the way we have approached it, in my humble view, is not correct. I have taken a more of a cluster approach in Andhra Pradesh, where I said which cluster should focus on which sector. So we have a glass city, we have a space city, we have a drone city, we have a medical devices manufacturing city, we have a quantum, funnily enough we call it quantum village, no, quantum valley and quantum village. We've done that. Like this around 22 clusters, that's where I'm now working with higher ed institutions, both private sector and government, tying them up to the private sector, saying that boss, let's get labs, centers of excellence, rapid prototyping research facilities. You fund chairs. And that is the mechanism that we are taking. And that is the way I believe that we can strengthen higher ed. 1. 2. I don't know whether you've been following, but we have changed the entire hierarchy of higher ed in Andhra, where now we have Commissioner Higher Education who takes care of all the administrative stuff. Earlier, Apshi, who was in charge of everything, I said, all you need to do is academics. Academics, academics, academics. You need to come up with curriculum that 5 years from now is relevant. Not something that was relevant 2 decades back or 2 decades ago. So that's the change we're doing in higher ed. So quantum. So we now have a minor in quantum as a state. We're doing a lot of work in AI, data, medical devices manufacturing. Material sciences is huge. So ArcelorMittal, as they're doing a plant, I spoke to Aditya. And Aditya, I said, boss, you have to do a materials, advanced materials university. And now, if you're following the news, we're doing the entire beach sand mining that's opening up with the rare earth minerals. Now, when I was in Russia recently and I worked with a few institutions there to come and do the entire research in our government university called Andhra University. We're now working on that. So tying the higher ed, both government, private sector, to the industry and what the industry really needs and where the government sees the next opportunities are is very, very critical. And that's the tight integration we're doing. And I'm also mandating a lot of things. like facial recognition, B.Ed colleges, higher institutions. I said, as a state, we have fee reimbursement as a model. If I am paying for my children's education, I have right to know if they're coming or not. I think that's a very simple thing that I'm asking. So we're bringing about bold changes there. And if I'm right, we are the first and only state to have, again, thanks to RTG, to create an entire data set where I track a child progression from Anganwadi to lifelong learning. And I know who is dropping at which point and what is the intervention to be done, including predicting potential dropouts. So you're using technology to predict dropouts based on their family, socioeconomic status, so on and so forth, so that we ensure that no child is left behind. I understand there might be pressures. I understand. See, honestly, I never did well with the Indian testing system, but I did exceptionally well in the American system. So I'm good at critical analytical thinking. That's how that system tests, and I did that quite well. Similarly, some of them have pressures at home, so they can't pursue higher education immediately. They can go the vocational route. Today, lift mechanics are getting paid a lot more than an IT professional. So there are opportunities available out there. So I am now working with them. So we're creating vocational as a big focus area, like what Germany has done. So recently, all of you will be surprised, we just gave permission to a university in Sri City. Sri City is one of the most successful industrial estate in India. And there we're doing this program, and it's path-breaking, where it's going to be an internship where they'll come to campus, study 3 months, and then they go back to their job for 9 months. And then they come and again study. And we've already struck this. And I'm sure we'll crack this model. We need to crack this model, and this could be the way for India. But we can have a very long conversation about higher ed, because it's a lot deeper than what I can answer in 3 minutes.
Shivram, please ask your question.
Mr. Lokesh, I'm very happy the way you're progressing in the IT business in Andhra Pradesh. And also I'm happy, I'm a naval officer, that you're developing a defense corridor. As you're giving support to the IT, 99 paisa land, would you consider offering the similar thing for the SMEs and MSMEs in the defense corridor?
So that's a very good question. Now, should I support SMEs? Absolutely, no second thought about it. That is why we have created, we're in the process of creating, because I think we've done 100 constituencies. Other 75 I'm working because I need to get land, where every constituency will have an SME park. And the price at which that land will be given it's very, very competitive. And no second thoughts about it, right? And this is the same thing. Again, see, it's not about bringing one company. I have to bring in all the ancillaries of that company. So for me, it was not just about bringing one Kia, but I got the guy who makes the bumper, the rear view mirror, the seat belt, the seat, the whole 9 yards. So we created the entire ecosystem in Anantapur. The same thing we're doing with AMCA. So we have various models, and our pricing to SMEs is something that no other state actually has. So we're very, very competitive in that sense. So rest assured, we will support SMEs. That is a singular focus. And our minister who's handling MSME is an NRA who came back and joined politics and became a minister. He's younger than I am. And the other day was talking to me, because I'm the chair of the group of ministers to create 20 lakh jobs, where he's talking about a deregulation where SMEs, non-polluting SMEs, do not need to apply for any permissions. They can start the project today, and they'll be given a window of a year or two, where through a single portal they can get permissions. So that is the kind of transformation we really want to do to aid SMEs or MSMEs to really go about doing what they do best, creating jobs. That's the idea.
We'll take just 1 or 2 more questions from the audience. If you can raise your hands, and then we'll go to the rapid fire.
Yeah, ladies first.
The ladies, please. Yeah. Is there a mic?
Both of you can decide. I'm not going to decide between the two. Oops. Ma'am, after
luck
that.
has
I
decided.
promise after that it will be you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Sir, you'd spoken about the data centers. You already have at least 3 of them coming up in Andhra. So you would be having a 4 gigawatt capacity in Vizag alone. Now, the US has in fact put up a moratorium on units up to 20 megawatts. And here we have 6, almost 4 gigawatt only in Vizag. And I think there's also a possibility that it might be increased to 6 gigawatts. Now, my contention is you mentioned about the Godavari example and how Godavari also, sends almost 3,000 TMCs in the Bay of Bengal. There's also a river called Hudson in US. I'm sure there are, rivers which are pouring a lot of water into the Atlantic Ocean. Now, my question is that, the environmental burden that it is going to put on Vizag and also the entire state is going to be humongous, because each unit is going to draw at least 1,000 megawatt, because 1 gigawatt will have 1,000 of megawatt of electricity demand. Secondly, you mentioned the thermal power plants. The thermal power plants also produce electricity and they lighten thousands and lakhs of homes. So we are comparing consumption with production, which is, I think, extremely unfair and illogical, if I may say so. So, how can we make these analogies, and are they fair to, is it fair to put so much of burden on the environment of Vizag and Andhra Pradesh, number one? Number two, don't you think that, there need to be disclosures about these memorandums that you're signing? They have been signed under non-disclosure agreements. Plus, I'm sorry to say, but the government is banning information sharing on social media about these data centers, pulling down posts that are critical of these data centers. Isn't it unfair in a democratic society? I want to...
Before you answer, ma'am, could you also say your name?
Yeah, I'm Shikha Salaria. I work with India Abroad. I'm a senior journalist with India Abroad.
Perfect. Now, you've answered the question. You're saying it's fine to have a gigawatt of thermal power, but not a gigawatt of data center capacity. We've answered that. So we are saying that it's okay to have a gigawatt of thermal plant next to a village, which will consume 7 times more water, whilst we are not willing to have a gigawatt of compute capacity, which is going to get powered by renewable energy. Correct, so does renewable energy. Correct. Absolutely no second thoughts about it, but 1 gigawatt of thermal plant consumes 7 times more water than a data center, number one. That is based on current technology. And I have seen technology which is air cooled, which will not even take water. And the amount of energy consumption in data centers is also now starting to come down. Technology is moving fast. Saying that, I have water, I'm going to use it. I have renewable energy, I'm going to use it. So I was asked this question. And then today our phones, all of us are using ChatGPT, all of us are using Gemini. Let's stop using it. Then let's stop using our mobile phones. Coming to us, the ban that you spoke about. Am I going to ban fake news? Absolutely. The post that you are referring to spoke about that we took land from Dalits, which is absolutely false. It is absolutely unfounded. Show me one person who has property rights and we have taken land from them. Ma'am, ArcelorMittal power plant, ArcelorMittal steel plant, 3,000 acres, 660 dwellings had to be moved. Amicably done. We understand that there's an emotional attachment with land. We've done it. Amravati, 35,000 acres were pulled from the farmers. We understand the emotion involved in it. We handle it with a kid glove. But then, if certain outlets want to defame this administration and Vizag on a false narrative, on a fake news narrative, absolutely I will take action. Because I'm sorry, these outlets are not talking about data centers coming in Navi Mumbai. Why are they not talking about it? Why is it only about Vizag? Suddenly everyone's talking about Vizag data center. It feels like only Vizag is getting all the data centers. There is data centers going to Hyderabad. There's already data centers in Chennai. And more are still going. There's data centers in Navi Mumbai. There's data centers in NCR region. But no one's talking about that. I mean, if you have all noticed, no one's talking about that. But there seems to be a campaign, I'm sorry, I truly believe that, there seems to be a campaign against the kind of investments that's coming into Vizag. Ma'am, if there is one farmer who has land right, and if you believe that we have not done justice to it, please bring it to my attention, I will do it. No second thoughts. We are that open as a state. My MP is there, my MLAs are there. See, we also want to get re-elected, no? End of the day, we want to get re-elected. Why will I go take land from a farmer just like that? Right? He's one vote lost, no? But will I allow fake narratives to go? Absolutely not. Why should I allow fake narratives? I have a right to say that this is fake. This is not right. If some people are going to promote violence on social media, do I have right to take action? Absolutely. If they're going to build fake narratives like this, I've taken it. No, there are more videos. In fact, go back to Instagram. There are videos where young kids, some 10, 15 kids, who are talking about what they believe are the environmental impact that these data centers might have. Have those videos been removed? Absolutely not. Please look. We have not touched. They have right to express their opinion. This is India. We have Constitution of India. They have right to express their opinion. But that particular video you're referring to spoke about the fact that we took land from people and that we didn't give, which I think is, it is absolutely false. That's why the action. So technology is here, and to all the Indians in the room, see, please understand that data sovereignty is going to be a big problem. All of us are underestimating it. There are AI companies who are forced by their governments not to give their AI models to the rest of the world. It is a huge competitive advantage that is getting built. They are going to become growth engines for those countries. And if we don't build compute capacity, if we don't build cable landing station, if we don't build renewable energy capacity, if we don't build capacity to manufacture these servers, power electronics, all in our sovereign land, we are going to be hung dry. One fine morning, if a country says, no ChatGPT to India, no Gemini to India, imagine the competitive advantage that nation will have, and where will we be? This is something that our Prime Minister is very cognizant about, our Ashwini Vaishnavji is very cognizant about, of course my Chief Minister is very cognizant about. And our policy is 6 gigawatts. We will do 6. That's it. My CM is also very clear. Che and not a megawatt more or megawatt less. Because we believe that is the sweet spot for our state. Now, am I getting renewable energy? Absolutely. I have solar, wind, pump storage projects. I'm going to wheel that energy. One nation, one grid. US does not have one nation, one grid. So that's how we are very different. So it's very unfair to compare an American system to an Indian system. They are powering all those data centers using gas turbines. And that's what is creating all this mess. Whilst I'm bringing all the renewable energy, which is otherwise getting sold at 50 paisa, 30 paisa on the grid. I'm bringing that, putting battery energy storage, doing pump storage projects. That's what makes Andhra Pradesh very different.
Yeah, the lady here. Yeah.
You mentioned job creation. I would be interested in knowing this job creation, whether it is in the unorganized sector or it is in the highly specialized sectors or whether it is in the startups. That is one. Secondly, one was, maybe 5 years, 7 years, or could be longer. We spoke of the population bulge, and suddenly it became the population dividend. So what has led to this change? Economics is my subject, but I have not been able to understand what has led to this change.
So the first question is, in which sectors or areas? Is it blue collar, white collar, agriculture? Andhra is firing on all cylinders. So if you look at it, we are a peculiarly long state, post the bifurcation. We have the second longest coastline. So it lends itself up for a port-led economy. And the data centers again comes back because we have cable landing stations. We connect Southeast Asia. We have broken down into 22 clusters. Shipbuilding is a focus area. Agriculture, the horticulture mission is a big thrust area for Chief Minister coming from certain zone. Aqua is another. Sustainable aqua is another trust area for us. Saying that I'm doing also quantum. So what we are doing in Andhra is across sectors, number one. Number two, I'm not as learned as you are, ma'am, but I look at India from 3 different lenses, and this has been a discussion happening, where we should not look India as one lens. We have an India which has per capita income equal to Mexico or higher, which is about 100 million population. Then you have about 200 million population, about 300 million population is very aspirational, more like a per capita income of Vietnam. But then you have 1 billion people who are under $1,000 per capita income. So that's the challenge. That's the real challenge for India. So what we've done as a state is that we've used different data sets and we said, okay, these are the families that require support. And that is the P4 mission that we're taking about, which is people, public, private partnership, where they have support the people who are less fortunate. Because all said and done, all the billionaires of India have achieved that because of the support of 1.5 billion Indians. If not for our data consumption or mobile consumption, Jio won't be what it is today. So Mukesh Bhai understands it totally and he's a great supporter of this. It is not a simple dole out. We are not here to write checks and say, boss, paise de de, kaam ho gaya. No. Hand holding. See, what happens is when people are in a cycle of poverty, they need a mechanism to be pulled out of poverty. And this happens. If you look at certain groups, right, they stop education in 10th grade and all of them become auto mechanics. Because why are you doing this? My brother did it. Or my father did it. That's all they know. So pulling them out of that cycle and saying that, nahi yaar, there's vocational, there's higher ed, padao. These are the sectors, these are the opportunities, linking them up, really pulls them out of that cycle of poverty, and that is what we're doing in Andhra. Now, is there a problem of 1 billion people under a per capita income of $1,000? Absolutely. And there are certain states which are contributing more to that lower per capita income, some states less. But we all need to work together. And only when we create jobs, we can come out of this problem. Of? So far, that's a good question. So, if you look at our investments that we have signed, in their true glory, which is the 100% capacity, they'll roughly create about 25 lakh jobs. I get confused between million and a lakh. So, one time, 25 lakh jobs based on all the investments currently that have come. So far, that is over the next 5 to 8 years. So far, we have created about 5.3 or 5.4 lakh jobs in Andhra Pradesh. I'm sorry? Manufacturing? I'm sorry, that's absolutely... No, Andhra mein hai. No, I am absolutely not, ma'am. Plywood manufacturing, Andhra is very big. We got ingot wafer manufacturing facilities. I'll give you another number. Andhra Pradesh today manufactures 60% of India's air conditioning. And by 2028, that number will be 85% of India's air conditioning. All done in one area in Sri City. It's one node. And that is where I'm working with that association to bring testing in, to bring ITI in. Same thing we've done in automotive. Royal Enfield is doing a facility now in Andhra, ma'am. Cognizant, again, we're talking about manufacturing. Now let's talk about the other side. Right? Cognizant is already created. Today only, I think yesterday or today I got a message from their leadership. 3,000 jobs done, Vizag. It all happened in about a year. Right? Infosys is doubling down on Vizag. So aqua is again a big sector. Horticulture is another big sector. We are doing this zero budget natural farming, which is a big push from my CM. And we're leading it. I visited a farm. I saw how income has improved and the cost has come down. So across sectors we are firing. So Andhra, if you have to serve our population, you have to do it in a very diversified manner. So that's where we come from. Ma'am? Demographic dividend. Well, we are reaping the demographic dividend as a state. I'll give you a few numbers. So if you look at our GST growth rate, we are one of the fastest growing. I think last month we clocked about 17% consumption growth. That's where it comes from. So demographic dividend is about how many jobs I create, How can I create opportunities for the youngsters and them contributing back to the nation? This is a cycle, right? That's what I've understood. Correct me if I'm wrong. That is what I've understood. So in Andhra, we have seen that there's a GST growth rate of, I think, 17 or 18% in last month, May. Our power consumption year on year has grown at 17%. We are the fastest growing in power consumption. Because all the companies, it's not just data centers, ma'am, full disclaimer, it's across sectors. So it is across sectors. So we have steel on one side, we have ingot wafer manufacturing on one side, we have automotive two-wheeler on one side, we have EV battery manufacturing on one side. So 17% growth rate in energy consumption in our state. And this is before all these marquee projects are going to get, are just about getting grounded, right? All of them are doing the construction phase and so on. So imagine where Andhra will be in 18 months, 24 months. So already we are now planning our energy requirements that's required for us next decade. So our entire leadership has already started to work on it. Next decade, what is the requirement based on investments we have done, number of jobs it will create. Because on one side I'm going and selling my state saying, boss, aajao, I'll do this, I'll do that, speed of doing business and all. Tomorrow if I can't give them power, I'll be in trouble. So we are planning this out. So just FYI, not data centers yet.
Okay, super. So I'm going to rapid fire. I'm going to change a little bit gear here and ask you to keep the answers very short because it's a rapid fire. So we need you to...
A tough ask from a politician. Chalo, speed of doing business, speed of answering questions. Chalo.
Yes, exactly. So we'll try. And also have fun with it because the idea of this is to have a little bit of fun. With the benefit of hindsight, one mistake you think your father has made that you've learned from?
Spend more time with my son.
Wow. Okay. As a young dad, I appreciate that answer, I must say.
Thank you. I always attend my son's parent-teacher meeting.
Fantastic, fantastic.
It's a rule for me.
Fantastic. Okay, one political heir of your generation, which I think I should say our generation, that you think has played his or her cards right.
Very politically loaded question. None of the above. I would like to say I'm the one, but no, I think, see, I'll give a long answer to that. But politics is very unforgiving. So when you look at states that have done exceptionally well, have lost, like DMK has done very well for Tamil Nadu. And I used to compete with them in terms of investments. They lost an election.
Yes.
So, you know, it depends. Like, it's very easy to say politics in a single brush, like how we look at India as a single brush. It's a lot more complicated than that.
Okay, then maybe we'll play a game here. One political lesson you'd like to offer or you'd like to learn from the following people, and I'll name them. First one I'll start with is Udayanidhi Stalin.
Always be closing.
Okay. Okay. Hemanta Sarma.
Ooh. Very difficult to compete with. Very aggressive, very humble. Hyper energy. So I would love to get some little bit of energy from him.
Okay. C. Joseph Vijay.
It's hardly been a few months since the government is formed.
But still, he did something quite spectacular. So,
his ability to capture the imagination of youth through social media.
Is there anything common you think between Tamil Nadu, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh?
Absolutely. It's important to understand the aspirations of the youth. I think that's very, very important. It's very important to not take it for granted. So if you look at it as a Telugu Desam party, I don't know whether I shared the number, 50% of our legislatures are first-timers. Okay. 17 out of 25 ministers are first-timers. We have the youngest parliamentary party. Our MP, who is now Mocha, Minister of Civil Aviation, is the youngest cabinet minister ever in Indian history. Right. We have the fourth youngest MP in Rajya Sabha now. So we believe that the youth, you know, when they are represented well, will be able to represent the voice of the various generations that are there.
Okay. Prashant Kishore.
Very interesting model. He's done very well in advising all political parties, including myself, but has not seen electoral success yet in his own way.
One lesson you've learned from him, or you want to give him, either way.
lesson I've learned from him is don't take elections for granted till the last vote is polled. Advice I would give him, good question. Keep at it.
Okay.
Keep at it.
Okay.
I've done it for 5 years. It may take a little bit longer, but if you believe in something, you can achieve it.
Fantastic. Okay. Nitish Kumar's son, Nishant Kumar.
Boss, I don't know him. Honestly, I've never met him. I don't know him, so.
But you read the situation he's in right now. What would you advise him?
But I have to meet the person before I can analyze the person. I think it will be very unfair to pass a judgment on an individual that I've never met.
Okay.
Because what comes on social media and what gets written is deceiving. I'm an example of it.
Yeah.
I was the second most trolled person in India.
Second most?
Trolled person.
Trolled person.
After Rahul Gandhi ji. I was the second most trolled person. A lot of people misunderstood me. My own voters misunderstood me. But 5 years later, things are very different. So I think it's very unfair to pass a judgment on a person who I've never met.
Have you met Rahul Gandhi?
No.
Any advice for him? Any lesson you learned from him?
Well, everyone's laughing in the audience. See, one thing I appreciate is that he walked. As doing a Padayatra, I know the kind of impact it has on a politician. My advice, well, he's a national party, I'm a regional party, and he's good 10 years older than I am or more, if I'm right, is that your learnings have to be imbibed. You can't just walk and forget. So because that's what I learned. So, I shared. I go back to my Padayatra book. Whenever I'm conflicted, I reflect. There's great lessons in your Padayatra. So never forget that.
Okay, fantastic. Abhishek Banerjee.
Well, he's having a tough time. He's facing his own sets of challenges. Defeat is never easy on a regional party. What I have learned from what's happening in TMC, I believe that we should not steer away from your core ideology, what you stand for as a political party. Now, even if you look at AAP, right, it started by standing for the Aam Aadmi. But then came the extravagant spend on the Chief Minister's residence with public money. If he earned it and spent it, no problem, boss. Public money. So when you deviate from your ideology, it's very difficult to survive. You can never take your electorate for granted.
And where did TMC deviate according to you? Where did they deviate in their...
Ideology kya tha?
I don't know what the ideology was.
That's my question. Right. So 15 years in power, we get complacent. We don't understand what's happening in the field, right? It's very important. See, again, it's very easy for me to sit on this side of the table and lecture them. It's very easy and very unfair. But what at least I've heard and what I've read, because see, I didn't do that. I was not on ground zero understanding West Bengal. Andhra, you ask me, I can explain. But West Bengal, I've not been on the ground. So, but whatever little I've understood is that we should never take the electorate for granted.
What about your party members? Because that's what is happening, I think, both with Aditya Thackeray and Abhishek Banerjee, right? There is a certain feeling that the party members are being taken for granted and they are moving out. So how does, I know you touched on that a little bit, but is there a lesson?
Absolutely. I think, one, it's not, for me, what is happening with TMC or with few other regionals, I'm not based on that. So when, for me, in my Padayatra, I was asked this question by my Karyakarta saying that, yeah, the guy who works and the guy who doesn't work are treated the same. So tell me how you're going to change it. So you'll be surprised. I have now a whole full-fledged ERP for a political party. I have the Zoho for political parties now. Probably I should actually license it and make some money for the party. This, I now have an app where my Karyakartas who do any work can post and there's a mechanism to track. So where it's not just about giving money, but them coming and meeting me, or me going to their house and having a meal with them, or me calling them to party office, the top 20 performers, and having a meal together makes a lot of difference. And that's exactly what we are doing. So never take your Karyakarta for granted.
Super. Okay. Coming back to little short answers here. RSS 100 years made a lot of news a few months ago. What is the one thing you think will change and one thing you think will remain the same in the RSS for the next 100 years?
nation first will remain. You know, if you look at, so a lot of people, I believe, misunderstand the institution. I have spent reasonable time mapping out the institution, because if you have to understand an institution, you need to understand the various arms of the institution and what does the institution stand for. I mapped it out. I wouldn't say 100% understanding, but reasonable understanding of the institution. And I believe that they'll continue to play a very important role in building this great nation.
What do you think will change? Will anything change?
As an institution, I think they continue to reform themselves, bring in newer charters, newer things to do based on how India is going to transform. So that's something they're ever evolving as an institution. So there's not going to be one thing, I believe.
The one thing young politicians should learn from Donald Trump.
Take a private jet from Qatar. Then have government spend public money and paint it and take it back after you lose an election or after you deem it office. I think one thing you can definitely learn is to create a sense of pride in your nation. If you can at least appeal to that voter base.
Is there anything you're nervous that young politicians are learning from Trump or they're trying to emulate from Trump?
I don't think any young Indian politician is trying to learn or emulate from Trump. I think all of us are trying to steer our mothership away from that dialogue and be happy with what we're doing.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, I'll end with two questions. One, something that I saw when I was into 2024, I drove across 4 states with a few group of friends looking at the elections. And the one thing that I saw in Andhra, and the buzz was, most expensive state to fight an election. I mean, the buzz was 100 crores that MLAs would have to muster up for constituency. And there's inflation in almost every state to fight elections. But is this something that you've thought about? Does it concern you? Is it real? Is it true? And how does one, is there one thing that at the third generation political now, do you see this election financing, the inflation rate of election financing, do you see that ever stopping? Do you see that ever?
Are elections expensive? Absolutely. And this is a phenomenon globally. Mm-hmm. If you look at US presidential elections or even Senate, cost per election has been going up. But there it goes up for advertisement, door-to-door outreach and so on and so forth. So Indian system works very differently. Is reform required? Absolutely. As a third generation politician, at times even I get disillusioned, what is this? What are we in it for? You work 5 years, you serve, and then there's this ask that ends up coming. Then what is the point of what we're doing? I was a believer, and I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, that large denominations should be removed. And if you look at this, this is something that even my leader, Mr. Naidu, has been saying since 2012-13, that we should not have large denomination. But there's counter view that you'll have to start giving gold ornaments soon. But saying that, I think it's also important that the electorate also matures. It is not fun for anyone here. If the electorate is mature enough to understand who is right and who is wrong, if they're able to differentiate between this and say no, mat dena mere ko, I don't need it.
That's really utopian.
But then why are you holding politicians to higher standard and not the electorate to higher standard? So you have one benchmark for the politician, the other benchmark for the electorate. Is that fair? It's not fun for anyone. It's not at all. And I told you, as a third generation politician, it's shocking what's happening, right? So it is important that we have to have this conversation. I think we need to take this conversation to the grassroots. And change has to start somewhere. We can't just say that we'll sit here and have this conversation in Delhi. We should have this conversation in our gully. We should bring about this transformation. We need to talk about it. And this is a conversation I have with my MPs and my MLAs, and we keep discussing. Okay. Of course, we are yet to find a solution. Yeah. And when we do, I'll share it with you.
Okay, last question. I live in an island called South Bombay, which doesn't really interact much with other parts of the world, doesn't know other parts of the world exist. But the one story that keeps coming to people in South Bombay that I want to ask you about is about a meeting that apparently happened with your father, a corporate leader, a former vice president. And this story keeps coming up. So I want to give you a chance to kind of respond to it. Do you know about the story I'm talking about? Was there this meeting? What happened in the meeting? Is it a fiction or somebody's imagination?
So I don't know why the story keeps repeating again and again and again. And it's always that TDP has to prove itself that yes, we are in India. So every 3 months, 6 months, a year, a story, someone writes that TDP is upset, or someone writes that TDP is going to go its own way. I'm like, there was never a conversation. There's no need to be upset because all the doors are open. Was there a rumor? Absolutely. And I went to the Prime Minister. I met Modi ji. Because in that rumor, Lokesh was also evidently there.
Okay.
And I told him the context in which I met the person and the conversations I've had with that person. And the Honorable Prime Minister laughed and said, one, no one told me. Two, if anyone tells me, I'll of course check. And of course he has all the investigative agencies that India can offer. He will check. He said, I'll call you. I'll make you sit in that chair and I'll ask you that question. But just because this rumor came doesn't mean you stop meeting people. He said, you're a politician, go meet everyone. Even in Congress. It's important you meet. If you're a politician, how will you otherwise get feedback? So I was very frank. That is a frankness with which we're able to have a conversation in this NDA dispensation. I mean, with all fairness, I'm a state cabinet minister.
Yeah.
Modi Saab is our Prime Minister. He doesn't need to give me any time. But when I asked time and said, boss, I need to clarify this particular thing. He gave me time, 30 minutes. I sat in his house and I clarified the position. And he was absolutely clear about it. See, our support to our Prime Minister is unconditional, will continue to be unconditional because we believe he's the right leader, right place, right time. India needs political stability. India needs strong leadership to take us forward. He is reforming. He's working exceptionally hard to reform the various central regulations which will help states like Andhra Pradesh to lead and grow faster and create jobs and reap the demographic dividend. So that is my agenda. So with that, it's a rumor.
But the rumor was two people, former VP and a corporate leader. Was it only, because you mentioned one, so was it only one person or was it both? Or?
I only met one person during that time. So I clarified. It's very important. If you're an honest ally with this dispensation, any dispensation, I believe it's important to have a frank conversation. And to be fair, the Honorable Prime Minister has always given time when asked, and he's willing to have a very frank conversation. He's guided me on many questions that I've had, including data centers. And he's also guided me when I went and had this conversation regarding this rumor. It is absolutely a rumor. But there was a coincidence in me meeting and this rumor coming out, timing, a coincidence. I was very honest. And I loved the honesty he had. And he was very clear, boss, you're a politician, meet more people. Go there, you have to meet everyone. And after that, I've been meeting pretty much everyone.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your candidness. Thank you so much for your time. Had a great conversation. It's always so refreshing to hear young politicians, and I know it's almost a cliche to say that, but it's always nice, especially, in a sense we're both third generation, and it's just nice to see the energy and just the candidness. Thank you.
Well, together we should make Bharat proud.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of work. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Please remain seated. I now invite Raj Kamal Jha, Chief Editor, The Indian Express, to present a memento. I request everyone to please remain seated. This illustration is by Shyam Prasad.
Please pull in my cheeks a little, yeah. I worked very hard to pull this in.
Thank you, Raj. I now invite Munagala Mohan Shyam Prasad Garu, Chairman and Managing Director, the Nali Double Horse Group, to present Nara Lokesh with the bouquet. Thank you, sir. Request you to please remain on the stage. May I invite Kunal Madan and Shivaram on stage for a group picture. May I invite Kunal Madan? Thank you, everyone. I request everyone to please remain seated. So as we conclude, I would like to thank our partners, presenting partner, Denali Double Horse Group, celebration partner, Radico Khaitan, associate partner, Anant Technologies, hospitality partner, Le Méridien. Request you all to please stay back and join us for some cocktails and snacks.
नाम लिख देंगे।